Hey everybody, this is Kyle, Dr. Kyle, aka Vulcan Wolverine. Hold on one second. Let me put on my Neo rhythm thing. That sometimes helps a lot. Put it on just for some extra defense. I'm not gonna go into too much of what's going on with me. I'll maybe get onto that in a later video. I wanted to make this a YouTube and BitChute video. I'm gonna have to charge it. But basically what's going on with me, and I'm gonna, in this video, there's a great article that another targeted individual sent me about about government workers getting up to $100,000 to $200,000 in financial and medical compensation for Havana syndrome. So I'm going to read that. I couldn't bring it up on the computer because I brought it up on the computer. My computer immediately froze. I'm not sure if my attackers, just when I'm going to put an important article out, they still stopping it. You know, I remember when I said it months ago that when I try and pull an article up and do it like online, my attackers just freeze up my computer, and they are still doing that. It's been like half a year, or it's been longer than that. But I'm gonna go ahead. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. Like what's going on with me? I got a lot to say about that, and it's in good trajectory. But the basics are stomach. I got some wired up stuff in my stomach, and it was presenting up here, but I also have external to the vestibular system targeting that was added like after a certain time of the biometrics and pumping that. I'm not sure when, but I've got to talk about that. But wearing down the biometric in my stomach, and I think that it's one that almost killed me a couple of times, and they kept putting it back in different places. So I have a lot to say about that, but let me go through this article. So things are tough, but it's a miracle even being able to affect some of this stuff that was making it like, I have to say, I just want to say this before I start the article. Target individuals with biometrics in them, it is like 10 times worse than if you don't have like biometrics in your body. And that's just what I've learned from like having biometrics, going through the targeting that's multifaceted, and then wearing down some of the biometrics. It's annoying, it's painful, and especially because my body's been going through this for just so long, right? But wearing down some of the biometrics, and then kind of switching more dominant to the external stuff, and I can take care of that with Dave Case's CD, and there's some details where I learned that that's going on, but it's a lot worse. Like, I don't mean to downplay anyone's targeting. I'm just saying, like, we need to kind of look at people's level of targeting, and then we can figure out, did you have some biometrics put into you? Because I think it's been a huge protocol at hospitals. Doctors are just, they put biometrics in, they don't know how much they're hurting people, they don't understand what they're doing, and they've been putting protocols in place to put a little thing. And if you put a little biometric device in the stomach, on the vagus system, on the foot, on the left foot, anywhere in the body, on the vagus, it can send a signal to the brain, receive and send signals to and from the brain. So let me read. Okay, so U.S. to give some Havana syndrome victims six-figure compensation, and then it's still pretty rough. Like, it's still rough, and like holding these huge magnets on my stomach is no fun. But it's a mess, right? This is all just the way, like, the world, humanity. It's a toil. It's kind of like our targeting. We've had human operators and automated systems making our lives so difficult and complicated and painful, and it's a mess. It's a tied up mess, and that's what they're doing to the human species with all these different angles, right? But God can work out these, and I gotta like do my best as a human being, right? And then just trust in God, because time and time again, I'll be looking at a situation, I'll go, this is just impossible. My heart's broken, my mind's broken, I can't, this is too complicated. It's been going on for so long, and God will come in, and He will bring a miracle in, something to get me past that, And what God says to me, He's just like, this is the time for this. And it's sad, and He's sad. Our loving God is sad that we had, but it's somehow above my head that it, right? And we read Revelation. So let me get to the article, guys. I'm gonna blab too much. Maybe should have made a video, kind of just talking about my personal stuff. I get in trouble from my attackers, and it's a tight spot, but. So U.S. to give some Havana syndrome victims six-figure compensations. And I would say, by what I've experienced and some of you guys experienced, we're owed millions of dollars. Like, we're owed millions of dollars in settlements. But this is a good start for other people getting compensation, right? And what I think is important to do, let me read some more, but it's by John Hudson and Shane Harris. Now, this is the Washington Post. This is on my phone. My attackers can shut off my phone at any time. They're not right now, so I'm going to go ahead and read this. It's nuts. It's nuts what's going on. It is nuts, guys. They show a picture of President Biden. The Biden administration plans to pay some diplomats and intelligence officers roughly $100,000 to $200,000 each to compensate for the mysterious health problems known as Havana syndrome, according to congressional aides and a former official familiar with the matter. I think it's super ironic, right? Because like I'm getting murdered, tortured by Havana syndrome. Y'all are too. I pulled up this article about the government investigating Havana syndrome and trying to stop it, right, and find out what it is. They know, like the intelligence agencies know exactly what it is. But it's funny how they're paying out all this money to these intelligence agents that are being hit by this stuff. I'm a citizen being hit by it, experimented on it since I was born. And I'm going to tell y'all what I kind of figured out. It's so sick. I got so effed. A lot of y'all got so effed. And it was all, these doctors just popping things into people that they thought it was just going to be tracking or biometrics. And it was all planned to torture these people down the road. Because they're asymmetrically trying to destroy our country and kill a lot of people. The good thing is there's a lot of good things. I'm going to make a video. The egos on these people, just like our attackers, just like the human operators with these microwaves, they think it's a foregone conclusion. They underestimate us, the targeted individuals, and I see the same thing as the global cabal is underestimating the human species. And I have a lot to talk about that. Let me go on with the article. I have a lot to say. It's just getting up on these videos. It kind of takes a piece out of me. My attackers kind of take a piece out of me. So I gotta pick my spots, baby. Have y'all seen that where Richard Pryor insults? I forgot his name, and he's like, "Pick your spots. You gotta pick your spots, baby." Okay, so the payment plan is the culmination of a multi-year push by Congress, which passed a law last fall mandating that the State Department and CIA compensate current and former officials suffering from what the government calls anomalous health incidents, or AHIS. AHIs. Anomalous health, and this has nothing to do with anomalous health syndrome. I want to also on another video, and I can't do it on this one. I want to put this one up on YouTube and BitChute. I'm going to talk about sudden adult death syndrome, what that means, where we're at, right? And I think we all know what time it is, but sudden adult death syndrome. There was an article written in the term sudden adult death syndrome. I've mentioned that, right? It's over. When they say sudden adult death syndrome, society is completely illegitimate. It's a satanic murder civilization. So, despite 6 years of investigation, and I can tell you what's going on. I can tell you even more about what doctors and hospitals have been doing too to prepare for a bunch of people being targeted. I can tell you a lot. And targeted individuals can tell you exactly how this works and what it is and everything like that. We can tell the government, so the government knows. Like if we know, if the citizens being hit by this stuff know what's happening, then the intelligence agencies know exactly what it is. and they're hurting their own people with it, and they're covering it up and paying out to a small percentage and saying this is something that's going on in a small group of people because they have to do something, right? It's just everybody's getting targeted by microwaves, right? They have to do something, but they want to Havana syndrome. Oh, it's just happening in Cuba. Oh, it's happening in America, but it's just a couple of government officials, right? But and I want to say this. I want to say this. We can't wait. Like, waiting is not an option in anything that's going on in the world. If you're suffering from torture, tyranny, murder, the lying, criminality, waiting is not an option. If you're a target individual and you're like, I'm just going to wait for this to end, that's not going to work, because they're not going to come out and go, oh yeah, because they're hooking in directed energy to make an internet of bodies. Now I think there's hope in this, with groups of us, suing the government, building upon this and getting settlement, getting financial compensation, but they probably won't be like publicizing it to the rest of the world, right? So we're just gonna have to like see what we're gonna have to go through these holes that they're making and see what can happen there. And I got to figure out some new ways too, while dealing with the being murdered, surviving the torture part, which God's given me so many miracles, guys. I'm going to talk about that on some other videos. It's necessary. I feel like I'm not going to get into that right now because I'll start blabbing. Despite 6 years of investigations, the United States still lacks certainty about what is causing the symptoms, they know, which include headaches, vision problems, dizziness, and brain fog, among other ailments. The health problems were first reported among U.S. diplomats and intelligence officers serving in Cuba's capital. That's not true. The health effects were first reported by many Americans, even way back in like the 1960s. They would say they were being hit by microwaves, voice to skull, things like that. So in the 1960s, like regular citizens were reporting this, and they were thrown into mental institutions, tortured their whole lives without any validation or vindication, right? So that can't stand. Like, this is the thing right now with the things going on in the world. We have to be strong and go, oh yeah, that's fucking bullshit, and not get caught up in any kind of narratives, especially these things that the progressive left seems to be harping on, and then the right starts talking about them. What I would say about those discussions is I would slap them and I'd go, shut up about that stupid stuff, because you're going to be murdered, right? So it's not about the conversation about the social and cultural new stuff coming in that's trends, but it's damaging biologically. And maybe some of y'all don't, just the big topics that are out there. We are being killed. Like, we have asymmetrical warfare. We need to stop talking about all that stuff that's like stupid. It's stupid even if we're in peacetime, but there's priorities, right? There's people being tortured in their sleep. So everybody, that's how I'd win an argument over, like, do you need to tell your preschoolers that you're trans? Come out to your preschoolers and stuff. Slap that person and be like, look, I don't care that you're trans. I accept you as whoever you are. You need to stop worrying about this stuff and doing this crazy stuff, because, we're all in danger. Okay. So I guess I'll talk about that more. I don't mean every human being has value, and every human being should be treated like a human being. But this, like, making this stuff a trend, I'll tell you how dangerous that is. It's very dangerous, and I'm sure a lot of y'all just, what's your human instinct on things? I think that's what the things have become so confusing, that what you can do is you can use your instinct and you can go, is this healthy? Or is this giving me a cringe, like, oh my god, this is like dangerous? And then you can tell what's right and what's wrong. God has given us like a barometer, a compass, so we know what's biologically sound, what is good, right? What is creative, what is life affirming, and we know what's destructive, evil, satanic, unbiologically sound. Torturing people their whole lives is unbiologically sound. It's not science. Like, I agree with the people. They're saying the people that are targeting citizens and targeting agents, it's like, oh, in some cases it's like special ops and trying to get information. In some cases it's science, it's military training, research and development. That's over. They've got enough data. This is like research and development training on how to murder good people and make them look crazy, and they keep doing it, and then it's just murdering good people and trying to make them look crazy, and they've got the data right. So I agree with the people that are kind of like the science is over, and I think that the science was always over. They said there was science in this. The data is collected and funneled to other places besides the countries where they're murdering the people. But it's like the people who are on the human operators, the automated equipment. They're not. We're learning things backwards about like how people are and how the mind is. So the public and the medical community is learning backwards, but then the people up above are just sucking that data out of all that, and they're learning more about us, and their prime goal is to depopulate us. So we're giving all this really good human knowledge about the brain and stuff to people that are planning on depopulating us, and the people who like worry about the health and the wealth of children and families and everything like that. No data, it will be given to them. It won't. So it's got to be stopped, all right? It's got to be stopped. We're in a pickle. That reminds me, I've got to get pickles next time I go to the store. Okay, so the health problems were first reported among U.S. diplomats and intelligence officers serving in Cuba's capital, but have since been reported on every continent except Antarctica. So maybe we should be going to Antarctica. I didn't know that. Like, I hadn't read the whole thing. They haven't been reported in Antarctica. So I think I may be taking a trip to Antarctica. I'm thinking about things, but like I was telling you guys, like I want to move out of America because this is like the #1 target for the globalists, like to destroy us, to use us and then destroy us. But I'm like, man, the egos on these people and how their plans aren't working out very great. Their plans aren't working at all, and then they keep coming back more hardcore when after people have figured it out, and now they're about to do another round of under 5 given poison candy, and that I'm thinking is people are ready for. They're not as confused on this one, and it sucks that it's probably going to go through and happen, but I think it will change things. I have to believe, right? We have to believe that we still have some humanity left, and a lot of people do. A lot of people are human. They don't want to put up with this stuff, but they're getting the small minority that will, putting them in place of power, and then the regular people and families, they don't join cults, and they don't join the killing fields, right? And then we become the targets. So things are going to change. Things are going to change, and God's going to change them through us, through the human species. And I just see that, like, I was depressed from the targeting, and I'm like, man, they're going to freaking destroy America, and they're going to, depopulate and get these things. But then I'm seeing it play out, and people are doing stuff. Like, people are like, why isn't anybody doing? People are going to court. People are protesting. People are doing stuff. People are fighting. So keep that in mind, and keep it in mind that these people at the top are like inbred crazies that they underestimate everything. There's bad intelligence all throughout this targeting. They have to say you're just a waste case and nothing. So if you're yourself and you're intelligent and successful, and they're not ready for it, right? They're not ready for it because they're downplaying you, just like the cabal is downplaying the human species, and they're going to pay for that. They're going to pay heavily for downgrading and underestimating us because. Okay, so the six-figure payments, I could use $200,000. I'm owed millions though, and you guys are owed millions, and I'm gonna save that for another video, because I have to explain how I came to a theory. I can't prove it, but it may help some mothers that are being microwaved out there. And I mentioned it on another video, and it's the only. I guess I should let me go on with this. Let me finish this video about this article. I'll be making other videos. It's just I always want to jam pack it because I don't make a ton of videos. Okay, so the six-figure payments will go to those determined to have suffered the most significant setbacks, such as job loss or career derailment. I've had a life derailment, and a lot of you men and women that I've talked to, you've had a life derailment. Like we're owed all the money that we would have made from the best careers that we would have had. Such as job loss or career derailment, said people briefed on the plan who, like others, spoke on the condition of anonymity because the plan has not been approved for release. U.S. officials caution that the range of compensation is not yet final and could change as the State Department's regulation goes through the final stages of a review process, which is coordinated by the Office of Management and Budget. The CIA determined this winter that a foreign country is probably not behind a worldwide campaign harming U.S. personnel with a weapon or mechanism. An assessment that raised, well, I can tell you the CIA is lying, and they know that these weapons are being used in every country by the kind of military, industrial, medical complex, torturing, doing training, research, and development on all the citizens of those countries. The big problem is that the contractors who do this are international, and so they get people like soldiers from every country, law enforcement from every country, ex-law enforcement, ex-soldiers, ex-blah, blah. They become mercenaries for international private corporations that are then handed top-secret clearances of whatever country they're in to bash and smash and kill as many innocent American families as they can and call it science, right? So that's what's happening. So the attackers on me, the human operators, they're mercenaries. They're not American soldiers. They were once American soldiers, and they are Masons, but they started working for international contractors that do this. Like the contractor they're working for probably operates in many different countries, experimenting on foreign people in other countries, right? Because America goes in there and says, we're going to give you all this technology if we can experiment on your citizens. Then they bring in the international contractors. And we probably have American taxpayer dollars and our black budget in the DoD actually funding like torture and experimentation of people in other countries. It's such a mess. Like it's such a crime, like world global treason. But they think of it as saving the world, right? Anything they want to do, kill people, blah blah, massacre, poison people, and stuff like that. It's for the greater good to save the world. But cult lunacy is what we're up against, but it has resources and organizational structure, right? So that this is retarded. Like what I'm reading here is retarded. Like it's a lie. It's a blatant lie, and I want to read it again. The CIA determined this winter that a foreign country is probably not behind a worldwide campaign harming U.S. personnel with a weapon or mechanism. An assessment that raised doubts about years of speculation. And so these special agents or government officials and stuff, they go to other countries at those embassies. That's not, I don't think this is experimentation on them. I think those countries have these weapons. They do remote neural manipulation to their brains, right, to see what they're doing there, especially if America sends like CIA personnel to embassy to appear like they're embassy workers, right? And America's probably doing that to foreign countries that come here too, and they're just doing this whole remote neural manipulation of spy stuff, and then experimenting on citizens too. So it's a full mess, full on directed energy, flying around in the air, hitting whoever, and everybody kind of scratching their heads and scratching their butts. The people who do know are the ones doing it. So they're like, well, we know what's happening, we're going to cover it up. So it's very special and dangerous. It's very special and dangerous if you're like somebody who's not part of the groups that are covering it up and you know what's going on. It sucks. It sucks. Okay, I'm in a mood. I'm always in a mood. Okay, so this is incredible. It's incredible what's happened to our world. And I just want to reaffirm that this didn't just happen. these weren't just screw ups to screw up our lives and hurt so many people. This was a lot of work to make the system like this. And I want to say this as an example. As targeted individuals, we see how on point these systems are. The directed energy hitting us, the torture, the automated systems, the gang stalking, the vehicular stalking. It runs like a well oiled machine, right? Guided by automated systems, AI, right? All the money, all the priority, private international contractor money, because they get money to torture American citizens and they get money to sell the data. They don't spend no money. They ain't spending any of their own money. They get money to manufacture. They get money for the data. They're criminals. Criminals, criminals, criminals. And I forgot what else I was gonna say. I was gonna say, yeah, we see how well oiled the priority of these directed energy weapon attacks and torturing people. Yet the food chains disrupted, people going out of business, the pandemic coming, everything's falling apart, nothing works, the gas prices are going up, printing trillions of dollars. Oh, that causes inflation. The head of the Federal Reserve like didn't know that printing trillions of dollars. I mean, come on, right? Come on, right? We see how pristine and like on time, and it doesn't skip a beat, like murdering people, like microwaving them. It doesn't skip a beat, but everything that gives us health and food and allows children to be educated and not frickin' messed with until they're older, right? Then you can tell them about all the crazy stuff in the world, but you protect them and guard them till then. But all that stuff out the window, out the window. We can't handle anything but these murder programs, right on point. So we know it's a proof positive that the stuff that's coming down on us and everything going wrong, that's planned. Okay, so an assessment that raised doubts about years of speculation that the health issues were the result of a mysterious directed energy weapon wielded by Russia or Chinese agents. And Russia and China do have these weapons. They are experimenting on their own citizens. When American embassy workers go in there, they probably remote neural manipulate, a lot of them, and then the ones that are actually CIA agents that are like in there for other reasons than what they say, they attack them and they attack their families and they drive them out of the country, right? And they get as much information as they can. I can tell you, like, I'm not CIA, and I can tell you like what's going on here. That's why my attackers like freeze up my computer. I'm not trying to brag. It's just like I've been going through this for so long, uh, and also we're at a time where I understand that people are like, well, I'm just gonna like I'm kind of like I maybe I should wait a while because people are so behind on what's happening, and it kind of just this is awful. I do have this thought though, like it's just kind of got to happen, and then people react to it because we've lost the ability, like by social engineering and conditioning, that if you say, oh, this is gonna happen, this is dangerous to us, it's conspiracy theory. So it can stall, the thing can happen and hurt us, and then it can be too late, right? But I'm like, well, more people need to figure this stuff out so we get more people flying at it. There's a lot of people working on it. It's just the mainstream media is completely controlled. Like many big things have been done, like by targeted individuals speaking to like senators and big class action suits and things like that. But it's the information doesn't spread, right? So we got to figure that out. That's why I want to and I don't know, like this is just an idea, right? I don't know how, like I hope somebody can organize this, or like I'll help or whatever, but get the class action suit going against the government because they're paying out to these government officials. We're getting hit with worse for a longer period of time, right? We're human beings, just I'd say even more valuable than a government official. That somebody that goes and works for the government and just does whatever the government says, I'd say we're more valuable than that. But I'd say those press releases, you get a class action, you get every targeted individual not just the person leading the class action suit, send press releases to their local news. And we just keep saturating that. We have to keep saturating the information in any way. And like, if you're like, man, I'm a targeted individual and I'm not going to get up and like get on and put my face up on YouTube because I'm going to get freaking hurt and I got to go to work, or I got to do this, or I got to do that. There's other ways that are like under the surface, right? And I think that's a lot of targeted individuals are doing that kind of strategic thing right now. So I know that it's like, oh, there's chaos in the world and there's not a lot of people talking about this. Maybe I'm just not getting the videos, right? But there are a lot of people doing very strategic things. And like, I know this because I'm a dummy dumb and I've got to just fly at it, and I'm like, this is, children, man, death. Like, so there's no choice. But doing it smart's also a good way too. I'm doing it smart. I got to get, like, yeah. Okay, so government investigators have reviewed more than 1,000 cases. There are millions upon millions of cases around the world of citizens being tortured in their sleep, tortured in their homes and stuff like that, and then the remote neural manipulation, mind control. And now what we have is we have a saturation of this. People are talking about brain chips and stuff that are coming, that they'll maybe be able to see with their eyes and decide if they want to take this thing. That's how people think of somebody invading your brain or your body, is that you would have the metal thing and they would be like, do you want to put this in your body? And they would give you a choice, but it's all in us. Like, layers and layers, like biometrics, nanotechnology, those things. And not everybody has biometrics, but that's one angle, right? These older technologies, I want to impress this point, and I always do, because it's true, and I'm just going to say it. And I know that maybe some target individuals will disagree. They say, oh, implants and stuff like that, that's an older technology. They're already past that. They use other stuff. Let me impress the point upon you. Redundant systems, one more time. Even the older technologies, they're going to keep on using them and kind of trying to update those older technologies, but still using those and then using the newer methods, right? Because they want inundation, of the human being, so that there can be more intense control, right? We're going to stop this. I mean, we're going to stop this, but when I'm talking about it, I'm just talking about their plans and what they're doing. But I've seen how, like, God has stepped in on my mind control. Like, I shouldn't be alive, and I definitely shouldn't even really have any of my own thoughts, the way that they've mind controlled me so severely. But I've seen the miracles in this and how it's made me stronger on spiritual levels in ways that I'm like, wow, I'm glad that I'm like that. I hate that I went through all this stuff. But then I'm like looking at the human species and I'm like, they're going to go through that, where it's like they think they can't win and they're closed in, but then, they connect with God and they just ascend past, ascending past unprecedented things, a human being tortured and it never stopping, right? How do we get past that? Well, we got to grab onto God, in the name of Jesus Christ. Okay, so I think, let me read a little bit more. Government investigators have reviewed more than 1,000 cases, with the majority being attributed to a pre-existing medical condition or environmental or other factors. Dozens of other reported cases remain unexplained. And I think the way they're able to keep the number down of reported cases, because I've been looking everywhere, and if anybody has some kind of link or somewhere, and I think I've said this in other videos, memory a little bit better because of the big pump up, but I still got some of the external crap going in my vestibular system, and I got it, man. It's like if I take it off, they can get it up in a couple of hours, like the pumping. But okay, so what was I going to say? Oh, forgot what I was going to say. Oh, like I've looked everywhere, the State Department, DOD, NIH. I've looked everywhere for somewhere that citizens can report that they are being hit, that they have Havana syndrome, that they're being hit with directed energy weapons, right? And I can't find it, so that I think a lot of y'all have already figured this out. The deal is that these government officials, they report to whatever agency that they work for, and then it goes up the chain, right? And then somebody will come and speak to them, but they're not giving an outlet for just citizens to call in, because that would be inundated with millions of phone calls, right? And so they're trying to stall and make this seem like a smaller situation. Global treason against the human species to try and keep this running, and we don't know what they're doing with it, right? That's a bottom line. It's a bottom line for people who don't know about remote neural manipulation and targeting and stuff. We don't know what they're doing with this brain data. It's not coming out into the medical community and helping us to like solve health problems and make society better. Society's getting worse. So what's going on? They're grabbing all this data from millions of people, right? Mapping brains, learning about human beings. Then we're being destroyed very, very successfully. So what's the connection here? Connect the dots. La 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 la. Connect the dots. So it's just a dark time right now, and we've got to be as hopeful as possible. We can't give in to it or comply to it. Human beings with a soul, you cannot, and there's no choice to do that. And I have an even less of a choice to participate in an evil system because I'm being murdered by the evil system, because they knew I wouldn't participate in it, like a lot of you guys. I'm weirded out by how this happened to me, and I think I'm gonna make a video after this because it's just killing me. I've just got to talk about it, but I've been kind of like trying to be like, well, maybe I shouldn't talk about my personal stuff because my attackers like hit me harder, and I should just like enjoy what I'm getting. But I'm just like, we're at that point. Okay, so as word of the compensation packages has trickled out to the federal workforce, some officials have remarked that the packages were generous, while others have said the compensation range seems insufficient given the loss of the future and past income from those who have suffered severe neurological damage and can no longer work. For what's been done to me, like, I'll survive it, and I'll evolve, and I'll adapt, right? I'll be different than what I was if I wasn't mutilated and targeted and my brain wasn't conditioned by microwaves for decades, right? I'll be different, but I'll survive it. But that needs compensation, that the life that I wanted, that I was supposed to be allowed in America because I didn't do anything to anybody, millions of dollars, and they're attacking my family members, right, to just make sure that my family members can't help me, getting in their heads and stuff. It's so much money that they just start attacking and torturing people around you if the people won't gang stalk you, right? It's completely like just weaponizing people and effing up our whole society, families, our homeostasis, the biological health of the human species, how we need to live to be protected, to protect each other. It's ripping that asunder, right? Because you can't have global people that want to eat babies like choose how everybody's going to live down to a community level. What are you going to get? You're going to get people tortured in their sleep. You're going to get KIDS being KILLI and KLLED. KILLED. I got to put this on YouTube because it's this important article. We've got holes here. I'm gonna try and work on like what this targeting has done to me and done to my mind, and how I've seen they've just been able to run roughshod over me and rape me while I'm sleeping and everything, and like everybody just chips in, hates me, is angry at me. I get targeted by people who I don't like, strangers who can make money off of it. I'll go into this is the gang stalking part of it. I don't want to. I'll go into like a Circle K, not a Circle K, they're not called Circle Ks anymore, racetrack down the street, and there'll be a guy that's going to like the hot dog thing, he's going to the coffee stand, he doesn't get anything, and he looks like he feels like he's protecting his community, like he looks at me like I don't know anything. He's an idiot who's suicidally retarded, gang stalking. These gang stalkers are like so stupid, they're really stupid. And I know things that can help people to, hey, this train's coming, but I'm the one being attacked, right? And I'm sure y'all all feel that way. Um, but that's the plan. The plan is the master plan, like from Masons on up. It's to depopulate, you know. And the people that they see as the most dangerous, I'll tell you this, the people that they see as destroyers, that the cult sees as destroyers, are people who have compassion, who want to heal, who want to protect people, who have valor, who have courage, who have backbone, who will not do evil things, who have a moral line. Those are the dangerous people that they've got to get off the earth. They cannot, these people are not, when they say the people who are built to go into the New World Order, right? They mean people who have no moral lines and don't have courage and don't have virtue and don't have conviction, because they see those things as stopping progression, right? Progression to just kill us all. Saying these things is weird because the reality we're in is so weird. It's super weird. Truman Show for all of us. How did we end up in this time in our human species, right? But then you got to say, well, God's connected to us, and in these times of great dangers with human species, was he just going to light people up that are connected to him? Is he just going to funnel information into them because we're in a dangerous spot, right? And so we've got to look at that bright side. We've got to look at the light. Just look at the light. The light can outshine the darkness. They have to get 1,000 people doing darkness to you to affect your life. One inspirational or positive thing from somebody can light somebody up. The power of good is more powerful. It's just more subtle. It's just more subtle. I really think Star Wars had a handle on like how kind of good and evil work. Evil will ultimately destroy those who use it, but it can hurt a lot of innocent people along the way. It's fast. It's you don't have to earn it, and that's why it's so destructive, right? To the person who uses evil and the people who are hurt by evil. It's fast. It's easy. It's impulsive. But ultimately, you don't earn it. It can't be wielded, right? But good, you have to earn good. And it can be super, super powerful in the name of Jesus Christ. The Biden administration has not yet released the criteria for how it will determine eligibility for compensation, but is expected to be made public shortly. Okay, that's great. Current and former officials, as well as their family members, will be eligible to make claims, said those briefed on the plan. So it's going to come out to the public, current and former officials. My brother is a worker at a federal court, so I'm going to try and use that for this. They'll probably say that I don't qualify or whatever, but we're also going to have to, it's a good opportunity for the citizens who are targeted to force and wedge ourselves in so that they're forced to acknowledge our existence, right? If we don't force and wedge in there, then they are not going to acknowledge our existence. We're the ones who are going to have to push them and force them into it, right? That's all of this. If we don't do anything, the system's default is evil, cover-up, murder, go that way, right? But if people take those levers and try and like twist them back in and take resources from the system and pump them into things that are good against the system, there is a chance that if everybody does that, we can make these people at the top look like fools, and hopefully we'll have our little setup with the rope and everything in the crowd of people, and we can kind of finish that off at a certain point, if you know what I'm saying. All right, so under the Havana, and I really do think that's actually a possibility. These people are like so egotistical, and like I'm saying in my brain, like, oh my God, they got all the resources, and they're gonna do this, and they've hurt so many people. But there comes a point where all the humans in the world, which are generally left to their own devices, want to create a family and want to do good. It's very ironic that if you leave people alone, the individual person will pick the moral thing, right? So if you don't leave them alone and you say you got to do this and you get money, then you get a lot of people doing evil. But they've said, oh well, people are just like that, and it's just their fault, right? It's the individual's fault. But that's not it at all. And that's what they're going to do for global warming. That's what they've done for mass microwaving program. The individual, right, gets blamed. Dude, I went in. I'm not going to go into that now because like I want people who are not targeted to just hear this. I'll say some of the crazier stuff that's happened to me on some other videos. But I'm going to survive this. Y'all are going to survive. We're survivors. And the Stockholm Syndrome's got to go. The way they did that to me was like working on my brain. But I think some people out in society, they don't need the microwave mind control to give them a Stockholm Syndrome and it's not even that way of like I think that I have to do something, but it's hard to even explain like a biological Stockholm syndrome from being tortured so long and being put down in society for going through things that people wouldn't have been able to go through. If anybody, like any gang stalker, think about it, guys, men and women who are being targeted. If any of those gang stalkers that you see out there, if they went through what you're going through, how long would they have lasted? Now that's a huge thing. That's a huge because these people that gang stalk us and microwave us, they're like, oh, that person maybe has biometric devices in them, or they're being microwaved. They're done, right? Because they're weak, because they have no spine. Because if they were in that situation, they'd be done. And what I have to say to any of y'all that are watching through your victims, through your targets, or just gang stalkers watching, you're weak and a coward. And the people that are being targeted, they're being targeted because they're not weak cowards, because we have effing spines. And we're not done. No matter what you put into us, no matter what kind of torture bombs you put going through our heart and our stomach and our brains and our spine, we're not done because we're not weak like y'all. So I just wanna say that out loud. If you're a gang stalker or you've thrown in with this system or you're microwaving people, you're a coward and you're spineless. And you look on us and you say, well, they're done. We can do anything we want to them. No, we're not like you. We're not little coward, spineless people that after being microwaved for like a week, you'd be curled in a little ball, on the street corner somewhere, done. You'd be done. Sorry, I'm very angry. Trying to turn this anger and use it in just the light, but my humanity, I got some angry human stuff here. This fist is a fist of fury. Okay, under the Havana Act, Congress gave the Secretary of State and CIA Director the authority to determine eligibility, which has already caused concerns about whether diplomats and intelligence officers will be treated the same. And then how about the citizens and the families, millions of families who this is happening to? This is a good opportunity to force this out. And we're going to have to force it. I'm telling y'all, it can't just wait. It's not just going to happen. Any of these things coming out and all these things has been targeted individuals and people pushing the government and pushing them to do something and filing lawsuits and protesting and activism and targeted individuals. It's all come from that. Anything that's even a little bit pushing out, it all comes from forced, like us sending letters to our senators and all that. So when you say like none of that stuff ever works, this is what comes from it. It wouldn't happen unless people were pushing. They would just not say anything about anything if nobody does anything, right? That's the way our system works. They're not protecting us. Our organizations that are supposed to protect us, they're doing the opposite, So we've got to be the ones, but they have power, right? Bad thing for us if they're going after us, but we can use levers within our system to get them in the light, and then they're forced to help because they have to show the public that they're still humane, right? All right, so I don't know why I did this little thing. Emphasis. Okay, so it is crucial that CIA and state implement the Havana Act in an identical fashion to include using the exact same criteria who qualifies for compensation. There cannot be any daylight between agencies, which previously was an unfortunate hallmark in how the USG responded to the AHIs. These terms that get us further away from what's actually happening are purposeful. Said Mark Polymeropoulos, a former senior CIA officer. He retired in 2019 while suffering symptoms including painful headaches after a trip to Moscow in 2017 when he was helping run clandestine operations in Russia. Devising a compensation plan has been particularly difficult for U.S. government officials given the lack of hard evidence for what's causing the ailments and the inability to establish a clear diagnosis for the broad range of symptoms that, while sometimes debilitating, can also be common. Let me go ahead and let's see how much more of it. I might as well read it all. It's pretty. I think we're. Let me read it all, guys. I might as well while I'm here, and people can just watch some of it if they want to. But let's go ahead and just finish the article. So officials with the State Department and CIA said Thursday that the Havana Act authorized the agencies to provide payments to personnel for qualifying injuries to the brain. So it's going to be very important. We need to get DTIs. If you haven't gotten a DTI, you need to get one now so you can get one in like a year and show the changes to your white matter tracks. I got one in 2018. I've been kind of pushed off on other stuff, going to see Dr. Hoffer, and then like just surviving the whirlwind of chaos. Just survive, and then like learning that I actually have biometrics. Like it's like this, like not pumping devices, but where I've been cut into. Where I've been cut into is this. All not my chest right here, but here, and then my stomach, right? So this is the line of where a pumper could be. And then I have the leads also, right? Leads on the clavicle side. I'll talk about that on a video, just like what I can't be 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure of how things rolled out, and it's I almost got killed twice when I was 10, and then when I was about 25 or 26, attempted murder on me, and then they ended up re-putting things in my body, like things that had almost killed me. At 10 years old, they ended up redoing it, and then when I was like 20, in my late 20s, he doomed me. Well, he didn't doom me, but he's the one who's put the most pain in my life. And it was after my colon was cooked out by a biometric device. They re-put it into the front of the stomach, like right where the scar goes up. So that's a lot of power for to make a surgeon who's a life-saving, awesome surgeon like put bombs in a person who he didn't know. The guy is a moral guy, and I'm gonna call him, and I'm gonna tell y'all what I think happened on another video. Okay, sorry. Let's finish the article. Got a lot of things going on in the old Kyle brain right now. About to go to Florida. It's like 3:45 a.m. in the morning here. And I think I'm gonna head to, I don't know, because my brother's going up for July 4th. I gotta talk to him. Like it's like I was gonna go yesterday, and then it was all this stuff. Like my mom's like, your brother's going up, and he has this huge thing about like, well, come drive with me in the truck so we save gas money and all this crap. And it's like, I understand that if the world were regular, but I've got to get my magnets in the car and put this on my stomach and do this stuff for targeting, which if I tell him that, it's like, he's like, what are you talking about, stupid? So it's like, I've got to find some way to be like, we'll drive up in separate car. It's a mess because he's stuck on like, we need to save gas money, just drive up with me. And I don't want to be stuck there just with his truck waiting on him whenever he wants to come back. This targeting screws up so much stuff because yeah, like if I wasn't targeted, yeah, let's save gas money and I don't care, but it's like I have to prepare for things. I have to prepare for how my attackers are attacking me when I go to Florida. Like I have to make sure I bring the stuff that's working for me here. If I leave it, I did. Oh, I had to charge. I was like, my Neo rhythm thing's on. Okay, let me get off of that complaining. I love my brother. I love my brother. Oh, they're messing it up on the phone. Well, we're almost done. Oh, they're really messing it up. Hold on. Okay, so authorize the agencies to provide payments to personnel for qualifying injuries to the brain. The two agencies have been working in partnership with the National Security Council on how the payment system will work, and we'll have more information on it soon, the CIA official said. And this is the cool thing, and we're not in there. The citizens aren't getting paid out right now, but the cool thing about this, it's not a cool thing about the chaos in the world, but the global oligarchy, they don't care if we get settlements. They don't care if we're murdered in our sleep. They don't care if we get tortured for our whole lives. They don't care. They don't care if we get huge settlements from court because it'll mess up our government, right? So this is, I think, where we need to go in getting compensation, so then we'll have resources to figure out more, right? Because that's been one of the worst things, is like not having resources. When I did have some resources, I could like try and experiment with defenses and things like that at the least. At the least. And y'all remember when I said y'all gotta get some defenses that work, because like waiting on these killers to stop killing us when their job is to kill us is like waiting on a train that don't come. It's like waiting on a train don't come. That's from Malcolm Reynolds. Now that's a God to not believe in. If you're a person that doesn't want to believe in God, don't believe in the state, because they are not God. These are a bunch of human beings that are all like peer pressured into doing the worst crimes, and they don't know what they're doing, and it's awful. And it's awful. It's an awful thing. Okay, the official added that the legislation provides the CIA and other agencies the authority to make payments to employees and eligible family members and other individuals affiliated with the CIA. Let's protect the CIA. The CIA is doing this. The DIA and the CIA are the huge people doing this, and then some of their own people get hit with the crap when they're doing it to the American people. Let's make sure we compensate them. It's so ridiculous. So ridiculous, but we're going to use it, right? And I think that's what you're going to be seeing on anything. Anything that would be useful to us is going to be like, oh, they're doing it that way, well, we got to use it, right? I think that's a bottom line kind of thing, and don't get too worked up emotionally about like, I can't believe they're compensating government officials and they're not compensating. They're just bad. It's like our leaders are bad. They're corrupt. They're covering up murder. They think it's good because it's like saving the world to depopulate. And once they've decided to depopulate KIDS, then it's like everything goes and anybody can be poisoned and everything like that, right? I wonder if this will work on YouTube. I haven't said anything like straight out. It seems like the V word's like the thing that gets cooked off, which is it's the thing that they're covering up the most because it's the most debt. I'll do a video just on BitChute about that. Sudden adult death syndrome. You get sudden adult death syndrome. You think they're gonna come out with an article after this round, after this next round, sudden kid death syndrome? What's stopping them? I don't see anything stopping them. That's what I was telling my attackers. Like, I kind of talked to them on the VTK. Like, I don't know. It's just weird. Like, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about them. But what's stopping them? What's stopping if they have an article, sudden adult death syndrome? What's stopping? I don't see any barrier that's stopping them from writing an article that says sudden kid death syndrome. So the official added blah blah blah. Okay, so as Director Burns has emphasized, nothing is more important to him and CIA leaders than taking care of our people. Our people, the CIA. Because we're not their people anymore. The American people, we're enemies. We're enemy combatants. They may not declare us as that in the lower down rungs, but we're the enemy. Anybody who joins the state, they're getting people out of their jobs and everything. And then if you join the state, you can be their friend. You're going to be attacking innocent Americans. That's how they do it. Starve everybody, get them all, get them all needing jobs and everything, and you go work for the state. Start hurting innocent Americans. People who can't do that, like who would starve and die and not, they're the enemy, you know. And this is happening. Like, this has happened before. I really gotta watch myself. There's a lot of hope, guys, especially with my audience. Y'all are targeted. You're at the end of your rope with this stuff. When I'm saying this big stuff is going on only to prepare us, we need to prepare. Get your 3 months of food or anything like that, because you're going to eat it anyway. That's a good thing that I've heard going around. 3 to 6 months of food, you're going to eat it anyway. So start doing that. Little things like that where you just got things that you wouldn't think about, like water. We take things for granted, right? We take a lot of things that we have for granted. We want to start thinking about, what am I taking for granted that I might not have when things get bad, right? Okay, so as Director Burns has emphasized, nothing is more important to him and the CIA leaders than taking care of our people. Well, I mean, take care of the American public. I'd say what they could do to solve a ton of problems, but they're not. The plan is not to solve problems, it's to make problems. But I'd say the one thing they could do to stop all the problems is just stop hitting people with directed energy. Take the directed energy off of people, and we need to regulate the microwaves in the air, right? We need to regulate the prince of the air, Satan. We need to go ahead and get some regulatory bodies on Satan, the effing prince of the air, right? God's going to take care of all this. Like, that's why I'm kind of joking around, and I just want y'all to keep hope, because I want you to also remember a very, very, very salient point. It's a fact. It's not a theory. When you have unprecedented evil, we've seen unprecedented things happening to us that are horrifying. There's unprecedented good that we've always maybe imagined during our life. We've maybe read in the Bible and things like that. We're seeing evil play out. That good is logically and definitely and factually going to play out. Now, what way that takes form, we've heard things in the Bible, but God is like so above us, but most definitely factual. Okay, so and I want to give you guys hope, because I know y'all are like being tortured and kind of and so when I feel like talking about these big things, don't get depressed. Focus on your individual life, your individual survival and stuff like that. And like I tell my mom about certain things, she's like, well, I can't save the world. And I'm like, Mom, I don't want to save the world. Like, I don't know why everybody thinks that just because I like superheroes that I'm delusional or something. It's something that I was drawn to because of my morals. But she's like, I can't save the world. And I'm like, Mom, no. We need to know these things so that our family can stay safe, right? And they don't want to hear it, and then Uncle Chuck. Officials from the National Institutes of Health, the Pentagon, and people who don't know about my Uncle Chuck, he had sudden adult death syndrome. Woo! Have y'all seen that thing with Jack Black where he goes, woo, woo, woo? I love that. I can't do it, but I want to do it someday. I want to get my eyes. My muscles are a little bit tense in my face, well, a lot tense because of the targeting. But I'm always so impressed. Like, I need to show that on one of my videos where Jack Black does his hands like this and he's woo woo, and that's how I feel like all the time. But not in a funny way. Officials from the National Institutes of Health, the Pentagon, and other agencies. See, I was looking into the NIH, and I thought we could report it there. With this going out into the public, there may be a place where the public can report it now. They're opening up. Okay, I hope, and we just got to open it up more, This is good. It's a good direction, but it's worse than it's a good direction, and these are good things that are happening, but it's worse than things just going really slow. It's like purposeful misdirection, and like, we'll help these percentage of people because we can't tell everybody what we're really doing with these technologies, but it's good and it's usable, right? And I think that in some cases, like I said, in a lot of things, not just information coming out that we can do activism or whatever, things in our life, we have to say this kind of sucks, but how can I use it? And not like not use people or anything like that, but you'll understand what I'm saying, right? This isn't great, but nah, I can use this to do better with it, right? I can Robin Hood this. Let's talk about we start Robin Hooding things, right? This system corrupt, but how can I Robin Hood this situation? How can I take resources from evil while not doing evil, while gaming the system, and then get those resources to people who maybe need it, or I can help other people. I can use those resources myself to for my life and stuff like that. But game the system. Don't get in with the evil. Use the system. Steal from it because they're pieces of shit, right? Just Robin Hood that stuff. I'm gonna make a video Robin Hood that MFer. Sorry about all the cussing, Actually, no, I'm not sorry about the. I think that like one thing that really gets us in society is this. Hey, I'm doing okay, and look, I'm polite and stuff, and that's kind of a Masonic thing to do really horrible things but be really polite. And I've noticed that from my attacker, like when I yell and I'm cussing and stuff, he's like, "See, he's a bad guy." But when you're being murdered and there's bad stuff going on in your society, people should be yelling. We should not be well adjusted and like, hey, everything's good. That's insanity. That's evil, right? But that's what's getting us. Our political correctness and like everybody feels like the weird stuff's just happening to them, right? Like my family, a bunch of weird stuff's happening, but it's happening to every family. And that's one of the ways that they do it is they do all this stuff and they saturate it, but every family feels like this is our bad luck and this is like 1 in 1 million bad stuff happening just because the mainstream news is not reporting it. It's not saying that it's happening all over the world, so people can't identify and go like the pandemic. Oh, that's happening, and we're all going to put on our masks and do all that stuff, right? See, for these things that they cover up, everybody thinks they're alone. They think they're the only one. But trust me, if you're a targeted individual watching this, there are maybe billions of people who are hooked in. I'd say millions of people who are going through intense like rape and torture in their sleep. Millions upon millions. You get women, kids, and then okay. So I think I'm finished. I do want to mention this on the end. I'm going to mention it on another video. I'm at about an hour, so probably a lot of people have kind of tuned out with this longer video. Some of y'all watch it. If you could maybe pass this on. I want to help some women. I don't want to scare anybody. I have a theory. I cannot prove it. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to make another video. I'm going to put it, I think I'm going to have to just put it on BitChute because I do want to talk about, I may be able to put it on YouTube. This will be the end of the video about this article. Let me see. The triage process includes visual, I need to read this. Officials from the National Institutes of Health, the Pentagon, and other agencies have jointly developed a new 2-hour medical exam to screen potential new cases that can be administered by doctors and other practitioners to U.S. personnel assigned to overseas missions. So we can talk about this with doctors. There is a protocol where they can establish if you've been targeted. So Dr. Hoffer, right, and people like that, and doctors like this. So this is really good. It is moving forward. Things are moving forward that give us more weapons. Like when we're talking to doctors and talking to everybody. It's still like, I mean, my mom knows about Havana syndrome, my brother knows about Havana syndrome, my half-sister knows about Havana syndrome. A lot of people do, but it's still like, oh, well, we don't know what to do. And like my mom knows that I'm being tortured. Like she is. And I'm going to make a video explaining how I think that this happened in a very arbitrary way to me and my mother when I was born. It's scary because the doctors don't know what they're doing and they did it to a lot of people, and then you have a whole, and it's not the only way, right? Biometrics in view, and I haven't even talked about it because I want to just do a video. I'm already on an hour and 10 minutes, so I'll make another video. This is good though. The triage process includes visual, vestibular, and blood testing, but not brain imaging. Visual, vestibular, but not brain imaging, a fact that reflects constantly changing and sometimes disputed science on the injuries. Even though some doctors previously identified perceptible changes in the brain of the white matter tracts, they didn't say that in the article, but perceptible changes, they just said perceptible changes. As a result of apparent attack, State Department physicians say they now believe the scans have no scientific validity because they're covering that up. Because that's a very, very concrete, solid proof that the citizens could go look. This matches those state officials, right? they want the vestibular system and all this stuff so they can so the doctor can like if too many people, then they can be like, oh no, the vestibular system's fine and stuff like that. The brain data would be concrete. Um, so officials are also seeking to better educate medical staffers at missions worldwide, instructing them to be receptive to potential victims' experiences, and they stress that skepticism is no longer the norm. For us, it will be though. Maybe not. Maybe this is the time. This is the time we can start really talking about it, and people will take us seriously. We still got the thing where people are like, "What? Why would the government want to surveil you, bro?" It's just doing it to because it wants to do it to everybody. Like the global system wants to hook an internet of bodies up and to choose what thoughts you have eventually, right? And when I say eventually, I mean the next 5 years. I don't mean in the next 100 years. I mean they've already got everything kind of set up, right? Okay. No fear, God will clear. God is here. God doesn't drink beer. Okay. So, and in January, Secretary of State Antony Blinken said the State Department, like the CIA, was focused on providing medical care to those needing it and would continue to seek a cause behind the health issues. They're not. They're stalling and they're not giving citizens medical treatment. And I go into doctors and I'm not even given painkillers. Like they know that I have biometric device. They know I'm being hit. They know, but they don't know how bad it is, and they don't touch me at all. Like they have records and stuff that say hands off, anything. Like they can't even help me with pain. And these people are getting medical treatment and stuff like that. And how long? That's all I got to say about that. That's all I got to say about that. Whoo, with the little whoo at the end. Okay, so we are going to continue to bring all of our resources to bear in learning more about these incidents, and there will be additional reports to follow. We will leave no stone unturned, except the basic, like what it is and how easy it is to figure it out, because it's complete treason and crime and torture to citizens. Okay, so that's that article. I wanted to say this, like, this is worse than MK Ultra was, and that destroyed people's brains. And this is like 24-hour a day rape and torture to the body and the mind and stuff like that, and just doctors like tossing in biometrics like pinatas and stuff like that that don't even know what they're gonna do to a person. And these things can be very small, but if they're on the vagus system, the vagus nerve system, your autonomic nervous system. It's like that little thing, that little biometric can build up a resonance, right? They send a radio frequency to a biometric device. It pumps EMF, and it may just be a little bit of EMF, but they can keep pumping it up the vagus system and building it, right? And building it. So when I broke up some of the loop through my body with the biometrics, and it was like the strength that they had has never come back, because it just they were building it through the years, and I didn't have magnets breaking it up. I was doing Dave Case's CD, but the things that were flowing through my body, I wasn't breaking up, and it was building, right? So it can be very dangerous, and you can have something on the vagus nerve on the foot, or even the anus, which is what I think the rectum, going up to the colon, right? The rectum is the colon. It's just the outside of the colon, and I think that that's a huge protocol of where they place it. I'm gonna find the information about that, I'm gonna make a new thing about that, but I'm very, very sure. Let me make another video on that. I love you guys. I'm gonna put the article. I'm gonna put this article in the video. I love y'all. This is really good. It's not great, right? Because they're still kind of trying to ignore us and just say, well, we don't know what's going on and stuff like that. But we can definitely use it, right? So I love you guys. I just hope you're hanging in there. I hope you're finding strength. Just prepare spiritually. I look at this unprecedented evil. I look how I've survived through it though too, and met so many great people. I've had really bad like things that I didn't think. Things in my life that just suck. But really good things, like really good things. God shining through in a lot of situations, and so I hope y'all have a lot more of that, and we've got a lot more hope to come. The I don't want to say the worst is behind us, um, uh, but I mean some of this bad stuff that's happened to me. I don't know how I'd be this strong, right? Or even just think about just work with your perception and realize how much you appreciate good things that other people they go through their lives, they're not tortured, and they have those things, they take them for granted. It's a gift and an energy thing that you can enjoy some things that other people can't enjoy and really not take them for granted. It's a gift, and it's a strength and a defense, right? God, in things that we can't even imagine, has given us weapons against this, and things that you can go, oh, because there are certain things, there are certain, I guess I won't want to go into that, but there are certain things that, like, if I get those accomplished in my life, even with my lifetime of torture, I will go, this was worth it. It's okay. I can die happy, right? Some of those things I'm not gonna go. Stop it, Kyle. You stop. You stop. You stop. Dude. Oh, dude. Oh, dudes. I saw the Doctor Strange. But I don't want to have a spoiler. So if you're not, never mind. Never mind. Black Bolt though. Anybody who saw that movie, I was so surprised by what happened to Black Bolt. Like, oh my God, that's the most shocking thing I've seen in a movie. I think in years. And people who saw that movie will understand. And if you haven't seen that movie, it's pretty good. I don't like all the magic stuff and they do the thing, right? That I hope y'all don't. I hope nobody used that, but they do that thing, and I try and ignore that. And he's a good guy, and I just think of it like God kind of. I watch it, and I just make sure I'm seeing any of that stuff that would be like that, and I just kind of toss it out. All right, I love y'all, and I'll definitely see y'all on the next one.